In the French Alps, where ancient valleys hold secrets older than memory, a family vacation became the centerpiece of one of France's most perplexing criminal investigations. What began as a routine discovery by a passing cyclist would evolve into a labyrinth of international espionage, unexplained evidence, and questions that continue to haunt investigators more than a decade later. Before proceeding, make sure you're subscribed for more unsolved mysteries. It was September 5th, 2012, shortly after 3:30 in the afternoon, when British cyclist Brett Martin pedaled up the narrow mountain road toward the Comdia, a remote forest clearing near Chevalin in the French Alps. The autumn air carried the crisp scent of pine and the distant sound of cowbells echoing across the valleys below. Martin had chosen this isolated route for its challenging terrain and spectacular views of Lake Annecy. The forest road wound upward through dense stands of spruce and fir, creating a natural tunnel of green that filtered the afternoon sunlight into dancing patterns on the asphalt. Few vehicles ventured this far from the main tourist routes. As Martin rounded a sharp bend, he encountered a scene that would forever alter the trajectory of multiple international investigations. A maroon BMW estate sat motionless in a small parking area, its engine silent, doors closed. The vehicle appeared abandoned, yet something about its positioning seemed deliberate, almost staged. Approaching cautiously, Martin discovered what French investigators would later classify as one of the most methodical execution scenes in modern European criminal history. Inside the BMW, 3 adults had been shot multiple times with what ballistics experts determined pistol. The precision of the wounds suggested professional training. The victims were identified as 50-year-old Saad alHilli, a British-Iraqi engineer, his wife Iqbal, and her elderly mother, Suhaila al-Allah. Each had been shot in the head at close range. The killer had demonstrated remarkable accuracy and cold efficiency in the confined space of the vehicle. Outside the car, French cyclist Sylvain Molière lay dead on the forest floor, his racing bike beside him. The 45-year-old father had been shot 7 times, suggesting he had either witnessed the attack or posed a significant threat to the perpetrator. The excessive number of wounds indicated something beyond routine elimination. What transformed this apparent double homicide into an international mystery was the discovery of 2 survivors. 7-year-old Zainab alHilli was found severely beaten, her skull fractured, lying motionless near the BMW. The brutality inflicted on the child suggested the attacker had attempted to ensure no witnesses remained alive. More disturbing was the discovery of 4-year-old Zina alHilli, found 8 hours later, hidden beneath her mother's body in the footwell of the car. The child had remained perfectly silent throughout the initial investigation, watching as crime scene technicians worked around the vehicle, never making a sound or movement that would reveal her presence. French investigators faced an immediate puzzle. The killer had demonstrated professional precision in executing 4 adults, yet had failed to locate a 4-year-old child hiding in plain sight. This contradiction suggested either remarkable incompetence or a deliberate decision to leave the youngest witness alive. The ballistics evidence revealed additional anomalies. 25 spent cartridge cases were recovered from the scene, indicating the killer had fired far more rounds than necessary for the observed injuries. Several bullets were found embedded in trees surrounding the parking area, suggesting either panic firing or an attempt to eliminate additional threats that investigators never identified. The BMW's engine was still running when Martin discovered the scene, despite the victims having been dead for an estimated 2 to 3 hours. The fuel tank contained enough gasoline to run for several more hours, raising questions about whether the killer had intended to create a specific timeline for discovery. French police established that Saad alHilli had withdrawn €8,000 in cash shortly before departing for France. This money was never found at the scene, though investigators noted that alHilli's expensive watch and jewelry remained untouched, suggesting robbery was not the primary motive. The investigation revealed that alHilli worked as an aerospace engineer with access to classified satellite technology through his company's contracts with various international defense firms. His background included extensive work on navigation systems used in both civilian and military applications. More intriguing was the discovery that alHilli had been conducting genealogical research into his family's property holdings in Iraq. French investigators learned that he had recently identified significant assets, including valuable real estate in Baghdad that had been confiscated during the Hussein regime but might be recoverable through legal proceedings. The timing of these discoveries coincided with alHilli's increasingly strained relationship with his brother Zaid, who disputed the inheritance claims. French police documented several heated telephone conversations between the brothers in the weeks preceding the murders, though Zaid maintained alibis placing him in England during the attack. A forensic examination of the crime scene revealed traces of an unusual metallic compound on the BMW's exterior, a substance typically associated with specialized industrial applications. The compound was not commercially available and suggested the killer had recent contact with advanced manufacturing equipment or weapons systems. The most puzzling evidence emerged from analysis of the victim's mobile phones. Data recovery revealed that Saad alHilli had received several calls from unlisted numbers in the days before his death. The calls originated from cellular towers near Geneva, but the numbers were traced to accounts that had been established with false documentation. Investigators discovered that Sylvain Mollier's presence at the scene was not coincidental. The French cyclist had been conducting an affair with a local woman whose husband had recently made threats about violence. However, this domestic situation failed to explain the professional execution style or the international elements surrounding the alHilli family. The attack's location presented additional mysteries. The Kumdaya parking area was not visible from any main roads and required local knowledge to locate. This suggested the killer was familiar with the region, yet no evidence emerged of prior surveillance or reconnaissance activities in the area. French investigators noted that the alHilli family had deviated from their planned itinerary on the day of the murders. Hotel records indicated they had intended to visit Annecy's tourist attractions, but instead drove directly to the remote forest location. No explanation was found for this sudden change in plans. The weapon used in the attack was never recovered despite extensive searches of the surrounding forest and lake areas. Ballistics experts determined that the pistol was likely a Swiss-manufactured model favored by intelligence services, though thousands of similar weapons existed in civilian hands throughout Europe. Witness statements from local residents revealed that several unfamiliar vehicles had been observed in the vicinity during the preceding days. Descriptions varied significantly, suggesting either multiple surveillance teams or unreliable observations. None of the reported vehicles were traced to registered owners. The investigation expanded to include British intelligence services when alHilli's work history revealed potential access to information valuable to foreign governments. However, security clearance reviews found no evidence of inappropriate activities or contacts with unauthorized parties. French prosecutors faced the challenge of pursuing multiple theories simultaneously. The evidence supported scenarios ranging from family inheritance disputes to international espionage to random criminal encounter. Each theory explained certain facts while creating new contradictions. The children's testimony provided limited assistance. 7-year-old Zainab recalled hearing loud noises but could not identify the attacker or provide coherent details about the sequence of events. 4-year-old Zina's account was deemed too unreliable for investigative purposes. Medical examination of the survivors revealed additional disturbing details. Both children showed signs of psychological trauma consistent with witnessing extreme violence. However, their physical injuries suggested the attacker had specifically attempted to incapacitate rather than kill them. The crime scene reconstruction indicated that the killer had spent considerable time at the location after the shootings. Footprint analysis revealed movement patterns, suggesting the perpetrator had searched the victims and vehicle thoroughly, though the specific object of this search remained unknown. International cooperation between French, British, and Swiss authorities produced extensive intelligence sharing, but no breakthrough leads. The investigation generated thousands of pages of reports and hundreds of witness interviews without identifying a viable suspect. What haunts investigators most about the Annecy murders is how a crime committed in broad daylight in a confined space with multiple witnesses could leave so few definitive answers. Do you believe this was a case of mistaken identity, or did the alHilli family possess something valuable enough to justify such methodical elimination? Subscribe to explore more cases where the evidence raises more questions than it answers.